That'll bring us to the planned name boundary workflow. So this is where we do our plan sheets. We'll create a new 2D name boundary file again. We'll attach the proper coordinate system. We'll reference in the corridors file using a nesting depth of 1. Open the 2D models. We'll place name boundaries using the civil plan method. We'll create a drawing and sheet models. We'll create those. And then we'll edit the drawing model, edit the sheet model title block information, and we're good to go. So what are plan name boundaries? They look a little different than the cross-section ones. They're 2D shapes that represent an area to be used as a plan sheet. So just like we had with the old plan sheet composition tool, it's similar to this, except for it's broken in a way that you can't take these sheets and slide them like we could with the other tool. So moving them around, they're not quite as dynamic as what you'd think they should be. So there's a way around it, and I'll show you that. And here's the types of name boundaries that we have out here. And the civil plan tool is the very first icon. So our plan files are all under here. We've got a full plan, a plan, and a plan profile out there. Oh yeah, I guess I went through that. Okay, we've got that. Let's see. And then the other stuff we'll talk about when we get to it. The detail scale is the next thing you want to set up. So you pick your size sheet that you want to create, and then your scale. And then the other big thing in this is that overlap. So look at this dialog. We've just picked our size of sheet, the scale that we want to use. We picked the alignment, and that's how we got our Route 54 in here. It's going to call the first one Plan 1. You could tell it the start location. And don't want to change the length and the offsets for this one at all. This is going to fit in our title blocks, our title sheets and everything, our borders. So we want to make sure that's left alone. But the overlap, this allows us to account for curvatures in the alignment. So if we didn't have that overlap in here, this areas in here you wouldn't see. It would be butted up against each other, and you wouldn't see some of this information. So using that overlap, and 50 might be a little small, we could go 100 even on that or something to get a better result. But it allows us to overlap, and we don't miss any of our project. And back to the name boundary manager. This time we'll have a plan group 54. Again, you can delete them. Always have to have that button checked on. And then when you've got it checked on, you can go ahead and create that plan drawing, which will bring up the next dialog if we have this one selected. And that's what you want. And you can see here's the two dialogues. One's filled out on the right and one that's not on the left. And I'll go through this. And the first part of it is one sheet per DGN creates one sheet model and one drawing model per DGN. Okay, so with that toggled on, you'll want to path it out to the location where you want to store these. And you could see that with the workspace, when we set it up, that there are folders out there already for plan sheets and different types of plan sheets. So if you knew what you were working on, you want to dump them in there, you could just path to that point. Okay. The file name, which is the view name, which I've been messing with that, and you have a drawing model scale. You want to set that up. So for this plan sheet, we want 50 scale. So we'll make sure that's 50. You can see it comes across 1 inch equals 1. So you do have to change that. And then you have a plan sheet detail scale, which that should come across already set up. And you can see that in this dialog it did. It's 1 inch equals 50, and it's by the name boundary. If you have this, then you know it's set up correctly. The other thing is there's an annotation group. Not so much for the plan sheets, or there's no group for it, so we don't have to worry about setting that one up. Getting back to the naming of these things, I was testing before we started this morning, trying to get this file naming to work when we create our plan sheets, because as you can see at the top here, I changed it to Route 54 _ plan _ 01. And when I ran these cross sections, or these plan sheets, sorry, when I ran them, the file name went back to this file name with the spaces, and spaces we're staying away from that. So the whole thing is to get the file name to work right now is we put it in this model name area is where it seems to cover. I actually copied it to all 3 areas, and it worked right where the file name came out the way I had typed it above. Now, with our naming convention, we're still going to have to go out and rename some of these files after they're out there. So I might be beating a dead horse on this one, but we'll see. Try to get that to work where you create this and you don't have to go back and rename files. That's always a pain. Okay, so once that's set up and you've got your open model checked on, then you hit the OK button. It'll process and it'll bring us up to the plan sheet model, the last one in that it has been created. I don't know what this one is, but it looks like plan 3. Okay, so the way it works is this is a plan sheet model, just like we've been talking about. It's got the white background. That's your plan sheet. You get your title block over there. The plan sheet model and the drawing model. Here's the difference between them. The drawing model with the gray background, no big deal. But in the drawing model, it allows placement of plan sheet items and notes that are displayed in the sheet model. So out here we put a north arrow. I can see that I didn't rotate my view. I don't think it's straight up and down, but I didn't use my AccuDraw properly and change that to the T for top and rotate that arrow. But put the arrow in there and got a graphic bar. And then when you look into your sheet model, you can see that those have been added. And Chad showed that with his wiping out his alignment with all those X's that he put in there. So time for a demo. You ready to do this? Let's do this. Okay, so we'll go back into here, and what we're going to do is let's just we'll just see if we let me see if I can do it in a multi-model view. Let's do that. Let's change our view to multi-model view. And let's place some plan sheets in this file. We've got everything kind of working where we see everything. I'm afraid to create a brand new file, reference them in, and have the same issues that we had before. You can see this one ain't even right. But we're getting ground. Okay, so again, we don't really have to with this one have the 3D window open, so we can go ahead and close that one. We just need the 2D window. So we're going to place some name boundaries in here. To place those name boundaries, again, we have to make sure we're on our drawing production tab. Go back to name boundary, and we'll change it to the very first icon at civil plan. Okay, so name boundary, first icon. The drawing seed we're going to pick from here will be a full plan. So we'll go to design, full plan. And our detail scale we're going to use is 1:50. Next part of it is looking at the status bar. It says identify the path element. When you're at a point here, you picked all you can pick. You can't really change anything else. Then you know you need to come out and pick this alignment. So I'm going to pick that 54. It wants to know our start location. So I'm going to hit this button that will lock it to the beginning, like so. Okay, and then the next thing I want to change is this overlap. Remember, don't change any of the length or the offsets. Leave that all alone. And let's do an overlap of 75. We'll get a little bit more area in there. Okay, so once you've filled that out, you can come over to your screen and just left click to start. And as you move your mouse around, you'll see that it's starting to place borders out there. And let's just do 3. Okay. So we'll go ahead and place this. And then it's telling me the data point one more time, excuse me. And then it actually placed them. That tool's a little tricky. It's got like 3 left clicks to get it to place. And you can see that we've covered this area a little bit more in here between the 2 sheets. And same here. So we're good on this. So once they're out there, now we'll go to our name boundaries manager again, bring that up, and you'll see now we have a plan group. Okay, so with the plan group, I'm going to open it up. It'll show us our 3 different plans that we have out here. We'll select the Route 54 and verify that that create drawing dialog is checked on. And then we can come over and hit the create plan drawing. And that will bring up the next dialog. Okay. In this one, our plan mode, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to go ahead and hit the 1 sheet per DGN. We're going to select that. And let's hit our folder and path it out to the proper location. And it's got me instructor. We got plan sheets. These are plan. Let's just say well, these are being made for maybe traffic control. We'll just do that. Put them in there. Got plan pro. Yeah, that'd be good enough. Traffic control. So we'll highlight that and hit OK. We'll just have to remember where we put them. And again, the name, if it's the same, I'm banking it's on this drawing model, and I might just test that right now. So we don't need to change anything up here. And in this one, there's nothing to change as well, except for that scale. We want to make sure it's 50, the annotation scale. And this is correct down here. We want our sheet model to have a 1-to-1 on their scale, annotation scale, but the detail scale will be 1-to-50. So that's all good. So the other thing I want to do is come up here and see if this does what I want it to do. I'll go back a little bit here and do an underscore. And I'm going to give this a 0-1. So in theory, it's going to make this new file name with that information. It didn't work with the view name. And I'm not sure if I want to copy that down or not. Let's do it. I'm right here. Control C, Control V. We'll just copy it one to each end. Okay, so once that's filled out, yeah, I'm testing as we go. You gotta like this. I just want to make sure we can get that file naming to work so it's not such a hassle to go back and rename everything. Okay, on this project, yeah, there's 3 sheets, but I know you guys have a lot more than that. So we'll hit OK and let this process. And it's just going to create. It's going to do a couple things in the background. It's going to want us to check in some changes and update the server copy. We're going to have a couple things that come up. It's at 66, so it should be getting close. Okay, here's the check-in. We want to update the server copy of our plan 3. That's the last one that it's opening. And it looked like it worked because I seen that 03 and all that. Yeah, it looks like it worked changing those. Give us that. So that gets us in the ballpark. The check-in, we'll check them all in. And we had that open last model, so it should open up that last sheet model. Okay, we're done with the name boundary tool, so we can close it out. And this is what it looks like. This is our plan sheet, and this is the last one that we created, which was number 3, Route 54 plan 03. It looks like it may help us a little bit being able to input the file name in there. If these are all spaces and you got to go back to ProjectWise and rename all this stuff, might be a hassle. Once you're in here, again, you've got 2 models. You've got the drawing model and you got the sheet model. So if we go to their drawing model and open it up, you can see what you've got. You've got all this in here, everything's here. And if I look back on that plan sheet, you'll notice none of that stuff's coming through. So where we had the view of these different ports that we created for our name boundaries, they're not showing up. So they're like construction levels, so you don't have to worry about them. Okay. So I was worried about deleting them before, but they're good to go. They're not going to hurt anything being where they're at. Okay, so in here, what we can do is modify our sheet a little bit. We can go and add the north arrow and then add a graphic scale. When I do this, I always make sure I go to my drawing. As you could tell, I did. I always go back to my drawing and I look at the AccuDraw tool, which is under this this icon here of more. There's our toggle AccuDraw. Here might be a better place. That's just where I found it. Under the drawing tools and toggle AccuDraw. So once it's on, I just want it out here. So when I place my north arrow, I can put it the way it's supposed to be. To do that, we'll go to our workflow. First time we're having to change that. I'm going to go all the way down to that Mo.CAD detailing standards. We'll select this. And you can see all the standards here that we've got. Mine looks better than Chad's because I've got a bigger screen than Chad. Sorry, Chad. So we're looking for the graphic scales, patterns, north arrows. We'll select it. First option is that.
That was not very nice, Bill.
I was just saying my screen's bigger, that's all. And we got the north arrow. We'll pick that. When it comes out, looks like I've already done this before, but again, it's same as SS10 or 4 or 2 or any of the versions we've had. T for top, V for view. We'll rotate it around. We want T for the true north, top, whatever. And then all you have to do is place that north arrow wherever you want it. So I'll place it here. Do a right click. And then I'll go back to graphic scales. And I'll hit that graphic scale of 1 inch equals 50. And place that in an appropriate spot. And any notes that you'd want to place, you can come out here and place any kind of notes. It's all, you put it in this model, this drawing model. And then when you go back to that sheet model, and again, the sheet model is the one with the white paper. You'll see that it's in there. It's being used correctly like we want. Any issues on the plan sheets? These are pretty cool, pretty slick. The only issue that I have seriously is that whole, you can't move the sheets and these name boundaries. They're just kind of, they're not friendly like they could be. But using that overlap will allow you to get more information from the project over. So that's one way to get around that.
Hey, Bill.
Anything? Yeah.
I think you can move the
Up
name,
and down and left and right.
the name boundaries, but
Yeah.
you have to do it before you cut your drawing model and sheet model. I think you can move those before. Now
Okay.
you can't.
Well,
you can't.
I'll definitely have to test that because I think the last time I did that, it didn't work. But you know, I didn't do it with the new code that we got too.
Okay.
So I need to look at that.
I think if you go through and do your named boundaries, and then if you want to adjust those name boundaries, maybe move it up or down or left or right before you go through and do your sheets and drawing models, I think you can do that.
And rotate still don't work, right?
Rotate, you don't want to rotate. It doesn't like that at all.
It throws that off, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Chad. But I'll do some more testing on that too. Let me see, what else was there? I think that's pretty much a plan sheet. Let me go back to the PowerPoint. You guys need a break, or is everything good? What's going on? I don't even know what time it is. 2:47.